What's going on, YouTube? Hey, hey, how's everybody doing? I know it's been a minute since we wrapped. Let me get this intro on so we can get into it. All right, all right. Thank you for coming back to me. Ooh, child, it's getting hot out here. What's going on, JB? What's up, baby? Listen, so this lady by the name of Raquel Stevens out of South Carolina was one of four teachers arrested after they found a young teenager naked and beaten to a pulp. Now, they this was out of South Carolina. A 17-year-old was found beaten and lying naked on the side of the road on January the 3rd out of Aiken County. He was completely unclothed, and the victim, he was beaten so bad that and his face was so swollen that they couldn't understand what he was saying. They was trying to ask him questions, trying to get out information from him, but his face was so swollen up, he was beat so bad they couldn't understand what he was saying. But they learned that he had been laying on the side of the road all night. Now, out of these four people that was arrested, we talking about Raquel Stevens. We're gonna get into these other four in just a minute. We talking about Raquel Stevens. She's 35. She was a teacher at the school. I believe she was a math teacher at the school. Now, check this out. They charged her with possession of anabolic steroids, 100 doses or more, possession of fentanyl, violation of drug distribution law, possession with intent to distribute of controlled substance near a school, and unlawful neglect of a child. Now, wait, I need to tell you something about these drugs. Let's talk about anabolic steroids, for instance. We know that there are a large number of steroids out there. They got steroids for sinus infections. They got steroids for athletes and bodybuilders. They got steroids for kids. Anabolic steroids are a type of steroid that builds muscle mass. It increases the testosterone and make them buff up, make them get buff, right? That's what these anabolic steroids are. And they're similar to what the bodybuilders and the athletes, the track runners, the shot puts, and the people that compete in the where they're not supposed to use them, but though are similar football players, basketball players, those are a part of that type of steroid family. And allegedly, she had been selling these. Well, I'm gonna guess she was selling them. She was in possession of them. Let's say that she was in possession of them. I'm guessing she was selling them, and probably to the kids. And I would guess to the kids that are athletes and trying to go on to bigger and better things, college ball, pro ball, whatever, Olympics, whatever. But peep game. Now we talking about they just found this boy on January 3rd. This the same woman back in 2018 that got arrested for leaving her toddler in the car for nearly 10 hours where she worked as a math teacher at a different school over in North Augusta. This was back in 2018. They was going to fire her, but then the charges got dropped. The charges got dropped and they let her be. That's what I think, JB. That's what I think. I hope so. Her and the rest of these four. Now, let me tell you about her other three cohorts, or the other three people that was arrested with her. They're considered suspects. Patrick Stevens, hmm, he got the same last name as she do, Raquel Stevens. I wonder if they're related. Derek Nixon, Ricky Drayton, and Raquel Stevens. Now, I'm going to have to tell you that all four of these individuals are of African American descent. One of them even looked like Peter from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. He dark skinned with a snow white beard, goatee, beard. These other two just looked like they was in for the ride. Anyway, in July of 2019, those charges were removed and the state reinstated her teaching certificate. She went back to work in August of 19, the next year, and performed her duties and responsibilities as a classroom teacher since that time with no problems. They had no problems. It was 2018 when it happened. They put on suspension. They almost took a job. The next year they reinstated her, let her come back and work again. Now, the news people are reporting that educators are held to a high standard of professional and personal conduct. This week's arrest is certainly upsetting, and she will remain on administrative leave pending further investigation. This is what the news is reporting that the school done said. So I guess they said now this has done happened twice. This appears to be a pattern. We're gonna leave her suspended until we get it all figured out and get it all worked out because they don't want to go off hearsay. But it's mighty interesting. They have such high standards, but it's so many of the teachers getting caught up in the fool la la. But their standards are so high. I don't understand. Help me understand how that is. How is that? Your standards so high, but every time you turn around, you're engaging inappropriately with children, some way, somehow. Anyway, the four arrests took place after investigators executed search warrants Wednesday at sites in North Augusta and Beach Island. As the investigation progressed, investigators were able to identify Patrick Omar Stevens of North Augusta and Derek Liddell Nixon of Beach Island as suspects involved in the assault. During the search of both locations, investigators seized a couple of pounds of marijuana, crack cocaine, powder cocaine, anabolic steroids, fentanyl, and numerous firearms. Now, if y'all remember, fentanyl is what took out Michael Jackson. Was fentanyl. That's that drug right there. Fentanyl is the drug that they're claiming they're mixing up in a lot of this crystal meth and the cocaine is what the streets and the news are saying. They mixing stuff up so tough now they're referring to them as opioids because it's a combination of good and bad. Good drugs that are used for good, usually prescribed and narcotics, and bad drugs. And these days you don't know what you're getting. A couple of pounds of marijuana, crack cocaine. Crack cocaine, that means that the powder done been rocked up. Crack cocaine and powder cocaine. Oh, they was doing the dang thing in South Carolina. While executing the search warrant simultaneously, they hit them all at the same time. Investigators seized over 2 pounds of marijuana, crack cocaine, powder cocaine, anabolic steroids, and fentanyl. Both locations. Hit them both at the same time and found all of the same things at both locations. Patrick Stevens, who I'm guessing is they haven't said, but I'm guessing he might be related to Raquel. Patrick Stevens was arrested on charges of attempted murder, possession of a weapon during a violent crime, kidnapping, possession with the intent to distribute marijuana, violation of drug distribution law, 4 counts of possession of a controlled substance, dextroamphetamine, Concerta, and Viance. I guess those are the names of the drugs. Possession of anabolic steroids, 100 doses or more, possession of fentanyl, possession with the intent to distribute near a school, and unlawful neglect of a child. Now, at this point, I'm guessing they done got some of the swelling down in the child's face, and he was actually able to identify these people as people who attacked him or did him bad. Nixon was arrested on the charge of and presenting a firearm. And then you got Ricky Drayton, who was 62. He was arrested on 2 counts of possession of cocaine, first offense, operating a stash house, and possession with intent to distribute marijuana, first offense. 62 years old, operating a stash house. Possession of cocaine, and intent to distribute marijuana, which means he had more than a couple ounces. And we know that they said they found a couple of pounds. Patrick Stevens appeared to be the only one of the four suspects still in Aiken County Jail as of Monday morning. This is crazy. They beat this 17-year-old boy within an inch of his life. And what's really a kicker is back in 2018, the baby was 2 years old, and she left the baby in the car for nearly 10 hours while she was in the school teaching math. They ended up taking the baby to the hospital, who was unresponsive with an elevated body temperature. Stevens told officers she did not realize her child was left in the vehicle until she finished work late that afternoon. That baby had to be hungry, one neighbor said. She immediately drove toward the hospital, but stopped at Richmond County Sheriff's Office in Augusta since the child was unresponsive. Officers called an ambulance for the child. The child is expected to make a full recovery without any detriment to her health. She was a math teacher at North Augusta Middle School and had taught there for 3 years. 3 years. She got to set an example for the younger generation, Brian Keith Abbey said. The Aiken County School District provided the following statement. Ms. Stevens has been teaching mathematics at North Augusta for the last 3 years. She is outgoing, personable, and a favorite teacher of many students. We can only imagine the anguish that's associated with an accident of this nature, and we join Ms. Stevens and her family in gratitude that the condition of her child is improving. Standard protocols have been employed pending the outcome of the investigation. Abby added that I spoke with many people about the incident, some of who declined to be on camera. One man I spoke with said, I live across the street from the school. I think it should be an investigation. Stevens was charged with unlawful conduct toward a child. She was booked and then released on a $10,000 bond, which I think when you have bond, you actually pay 10%. Um, yeah, so she paid $1,000 to get out. Yeah, they don't need to get out. And he's 17 years old, and as long as he can speak, and they can understand him, they're going to understand who did what to him and what was done when and how and all that, because he's old enough. See, he's 17. We're not talking about no 2-year-old child that can't talk and can't point nobody out, can't identify nobody. We talking about a 17-year-old who be able to point fingers, identify faces, call names, recall events, and they left him out there butt naked all night. I see that's what you call left for dead. They said he had been out there butt naked in the cold all night. So I think they thought maybe he was, I don't know, I think they thought maybe he was gone. He was gone, that he wasn't gonna make it. You know what I'm saying? I think they thought he wasn't gonna make it. And this woman, even though she's 35, I think they said she's 35, she looks quite young. She has braids. Um, she looks quite young, but yeah, it's real disheartening. It's real, really unfortunate. that, you know, something like this would happen to the teenager, or that it would be a teacher involved in it. You know what I'm saying? And I've said this before, we trust our kids when we take our kids to school. We trust the personnel there to do right by them. And it's unfortunate that, we have so many that are there for a reason other than helping our future generation. Oh, I saw this story. I just had to come on here and talk about it. It was something that touched my spirit. I don't like to too much go into the hurting the kids. If somebody hurting kids, I don't really want to cover it because it hurts my spirit. I hate to hear about it. I hate to read about it. Um, 17 years old. This just goes to show the state of the world, of the society that we live in today. This could happen anywhere to anybody, anywhere to anybody. Anyway, y'all let me know in the comment section what y'all think about that. Y'all look her up. Just a couple of things that I saw. One thing that I want to add before we get off here. You're welcome, baby. Thank you for coming through. I appreciate you. Let me tell you this before I go. Girl, 50 Cent must have lost his mind today, girl. He must have posted up. I bet he made 50 posts in like 120 seconds on Instagram. He was posting that BMF got picked up for season three. That's Black Mafia Family. It is a good television series to watch. If you haven't watched it, check it out. It's another one of 50 Cent's. Next month, is it February or March? Power Ghost Book comes back, and it seemed like it's going to be very, very interesting and power packed. So 50 Cent is doing really good for himself here lately, even though he's still cutting up and acting a fool. I have to admit he's been doing very well with some of the writing that his people have been doing, and I commend him for that. So if y'all haven't seen, yes, he is. Yes, he getting old, girl. He is getting old. Hey, 2300, Happy New Year, love bug. Happy New Year, baby. Yeah, 50 Cent is getting old and even messier. And if y'all didn't see Nelly, girl, they had Nelly on stage performing, girl, and he must have been hiding Cool Brown because his eyes was rolling all in the back of his head. I was like, wait a minute, is he making love to the mic, or is he on one of them trips across the galaxy, girl? It was like the people in the comments was like, oh, I want some of what he on. Girl, he was really cutting up. I said, look at Nelly, sweating like a mule, girl. Sweating like a Hebrew slave. Somebody he done been running track around the track for 6 hours. Oh, girl, thought he was gonna pass out. Yeah, good to see you too, my love. Good to see you too. Thank you, baby. I appreciate you. Yeah, yes, it was. Yes, it was. But yeah, y'all tell me what y'all think about that, and again, we're talking about four people who are of African American descent. So it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate that it happened at all, but it's very unfortunate that it would be our people. So thank y'all for coming by. Please thumbs up the video for me and let me know in the comments what you think about this story. And I'll catch y'all on the flip side.